Welcome to another video. My name's Jaden, and if you're new here, I'm in the year 13 summer holiday and will hopefully be studying dentistry in September. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about last minute UCAT tips and things to remember during or just before the exam. The UCAT testing period begins on the 26th of July and ends on the 29th of September. For a little bit of information about me, I did my UCAT test roughly 2 years ago and I managed to score in the top 22% of all applicants taking the test in 2019. My first tip is during the exam day and when you get to the test centre. I would recommend making sure all your equipment is laid out on the table for you, as I did mine in a test centre where the desk was quite small, and one of the problems I had was that they didn't give me a keyboard and they thought that all I was allowed to have was just a mouse for the exam. And I'd been practicing a lot with the number pads during the QR section, and so this was a huge problem, and so I quickly notified them and they were confused at first, but they soon rectified the problem. But that's just something to watch out for in case they do that. And you don't want to find out about any problems when you're actually taking the exam. If this happened during the exam, this would have been a massive problem and I definitely would not have scored as well. So make sure everything you need is on your desk in front of you, and if something isn't there, please ask the invigilators to bring it to you. Or if you have any last minute questions, just ask them anything you have and they'll be more than willing to help. My point number 2 for the UCAT is to remember to skip hard questions and to leave them behind. In the test centre, you're in a completely new environment, so everything will be different to you during the exam. You may perform differently, you may think differently, and you may feel differently on the day. So it's important to remember your key methods and key tips that you've given yourself to ensure you do the best you can. If you know you're the type of person to act differently during the exam and to face a lot of exam pressure, then keep reminding yourself of these tips before the exam, and remember to skip the hard questions because there will be some that you do not know how to answer. And it's really important that you maximize your time, as I'm sure you all know about. Reminding yourself of the simplest things before the exam can really benefit you. My third point is about sleep and getting a good night's sleep. We all know how important sleep is to our everyday lives, so it's really important that you get a good night's sleep before the exam. So not only is it really important to get a good night's sleep the day before the exam, but it's also really important to get good sleep a few days before the exam, so your body gets used to performing at a specific time of the day. And if you watch any boxing, you'll know that Mayweather actually uses a technique like this, where he trains in the night and sleeps during the day, because all of his big fights are during the night. So he trains his body to perform at its optimum level during the night. And since the UCAT is so time pressuring, it's really important that you're maximizing your sleep so your brain can perform at its quickest ability. Point 4 is having the right mindset during the exam. And if a section didn't go really well for you, then you shouldn't give up on it and you shouldn't have this mindset and carry it on with you for the rest of the exam. So it's vital that you maintain this mindset where if something goes wrong, you just ignore it and you forget about it and you focus on what's ahead. When I did the UCAT, the first section was verbal reasoning, and it's normally my weakest section, but in the exam it went a lot worse than it normally would have during practice. I had to guess most of the answers and I thought I really screwed up the whole exam, but after that I completed that section, I quickly moved on and I quickly focused on the coming questions, so I managed to get a decent score overall. I'll be revealing all my scores and their breakdowns at the end of the video. Luckily, the UCAT is based on averages and not just based on individual sections, so if you do bad on one, you can always tell yourself that you'll do better on the others, and this can massively bring up your average and save your grade at the end of the day. I nearly gave up after the first few questions, but I kept telling myself this and luckily I pushed through. Point 5 is about receiving your scores after the exam, and the UCAT is a test where your scores will be printed off pretty much immediately or a few minutes after you've completed your exam, so you'll instantly know how you performed. And this can be really scary to some people, including myself, so it's best not to compare with friends and with people who've done the test on different days, and everyone finds those specific questions that they got harder or easier than other people. And don't be as harsh on yourself, even if you didn't get the score you wanted. If I'm honest, I was a bit disheartened when I got my scores, as I wanted every section to be over 700, and that was my target point, but unfortunately a couple of them were under my target, so this made me feel quite demotivated, although I knew it wasn't the end of the world. So if you didn't do very well, don't let this bring you down. There are so many more opportunities in the future to do well, and the UCAT itself won't determine your future. And if you found out that you did do very well, then congratulations, and hopefully you'll be relieved that you don't have to study for a test like this again. My sixth point is about me and my scores, what I got and how I used these scores. I'll hopefully be putting my scores somewhere on the screen right now, and I got 2,710 if you add up all the sections, and band 1 in situational judgment. But as you can see, verbal reasoning did hold me back and was my weakest point. But even though I was really disappointed about my performance during and after the exam, I still managed to get an offer to Bristol University to study dentistry. And different universities will have different UCAT score cutoff points, so it's really important you do your research and you know everything about the course you're taking and the university, and you know what you need to get in. Although I wasn't particularly happy with my school, I'm extremely happy now, as it has acted as a stepping stone and has got me to where I want to be right at this moment. So there are my last minute tips for the UCAT exam, and hopefully you're watching this before your exam so you can actually benefit a little bit from it. And if this has provided any value or helped you in any way, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to my channel, as in the future I'll be posting a lot more educational videos about applications to medicine, dentistry and universities in general, and I'll be creating personal statement videos and giving more advice and tips on school and university life, hopefully. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.